Building, how's everybody doing? We're about to talk a little bit of boxing. We're going to be talking about possible opponents of Canelo Alvarez coming up because of his win over Charlo. I'll delve into that a little bit. And we'll look also at upcoming fights. So in the 168-pound division, we have Demetrius Andrade, who will be going up against uh, David Benavidez. November the 25th seems to be the date that is settled upon for that fight. Jamal Charlo is at the 160-pound division, and I do believe he's facing David Benavidez's brother, Jose Benavidez, upcoming this year, before the end of the year, so that should be interesting. But, of course, he really wants to make a fight with Caleb Plant, which would be at 168. Now, Canelo Alvarez has made a statement of sorts saying that he's not really, right now his eye is not on David Benavidez or on Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, to be able to face Canelo, would have to jump up 2 weight. Sorry, my bad. He'd have to jump up 3 weight classes to take on Canelo Alvarez. And in spite of what Shakur Stevenson has said concerning Terence Crawford facing Canelo Alvarez, I would say this: that's a tremendous, tremendous step up. I don't think Terence Crawford is that big. Canelo's fought all the way up to 175. That's kind of like, Terence Crawford just jumping up to heavyweight or something, because the guys crack at a different, they hit differently, and Canelo's not a guy that you can just stop like that, you know what I'm saying? He's big, he's strong, and basically a testament to what happened with Jamel Charlo versus Canelo. Mel Charlo had success when he followed what Derek James was saying, but I mean, he really had a lot of respect for Canelo's power, and I'm sure he second guessed himself after getting hit with certain shots. He even got dropped by Canelo. So, I'm sure that the fact that Canelo was so sharp with countering, and the fact that Canelo was punishing him, even though he was blocking shots, he could feel the power in the shots, I think, made him more hesitant to even try to engage Canelo like that. So he kind of, couldn't get into his stride, couldn't get into his rhythm. But just aside from that, you're dealing with a smart, sharp, accurate counterpuncher who's also got good defense and then can also take your shot. Because Mel didn't really see any of his shots really having the effect, because Mel's a guy who likes to stop people. You didn't really see his shots having the effect, so that all of that made him timid towards the engaging with Canelo. And Canelo was the guy really punishing him mostly. So, I don't think that Mel wanted to take that risk. Even though Derek James was telling him what to do, the game plan was to shoot the shot straight up the middle. But he wasn't buying into that game plan. He was more on self-preservation, so he stayed more defensive. And I just think that Terence would have to be able to handle that. Sparring and fighting are two different things. With 10-ounce gloves, it's just different. It's different, and you have to be able to withstand the power of the guy. So size does matter. That's why they have weight classes, for a reason. And just because Canelo jumped up 2 weight classes to light heavyweight and fought Sergey Kovalev, which now people should have a lot more respect for, the fact that he did that, because some of the things that Canelo did, nobody else has been doing, in boxing, or the guys that attempt to do it, they come up short. And Canelo actually did it for light heavyweight division. He actually he knocked out Sergey Kovalev. He didn't just beat him; he knocked him out. So Canelo's one of those special breed of fighters, and now you can't. He kind of separated himself from everybody else. Now people are saying that Vivo was, too big, and it wasn't that. It was just okay. So Mel had the footwork. He had Canelo mostly respecting distance with him. That wasn't the problem. The problem was Mel wasn't throwing. He wasn't throwing shots. He was trying not to be too predictable to get countered. And Canelo successfully had him put back his jab in the holster They're mostly moving around watching. Whereas Dimitri Bivol was jabbing. He also pushed Canelo back. And some people say, well, because Bivol could take his shots on his arms and stuff. Yeah, but also Bivol was a guy who he would move, but he would also throw. He would complete the whole entire movement. What I mean by that is, so you can make certain moves which really set up offense, right? Because your offense comes basically your offense is an extension of your defense. So if I make a move, like say I check hook a guy and spin out, but Charlo wasn't check hooking and spinning out. He wasn't, from his extensive maneuver, like you say, he did a defensive move over here, come up the center with the uppercut, which he tried to do a couple of times, came up short. But you make the defensive move, but then you come off with an offensive move, or as you're making the defensive move, you come with your offensive move at the same time. And Charlo wasn't doing that. And I think it's just because he was so respectful of Canelo's power. He felt it, and he was like, I ain't messing with this. I'm not trying to mess with this. And he wasn't even throwing his jab because Canelo would slip the jab, counter him. So he was not really, and Canelo was closing the distance because, like I told people, Canelo knows how to handle a jab. You got to bring more to the table than a jab. Now I hear people saying the same thing, but you have to bring more to the table with Canelo than a jab, meaning that if Canelo he will slip your jab. He gets outside, and not only that, he counters. He slips and counters your jab. So, and he knows how to close distance, and he's using that high guard thing, which is pretty cool. Kind of make you pick. You can't penetrate. Bivol's able to do it because of his footwork and his pivot work. And Charlo has that pivot work. He just was afraid to get hit too much. He wasn't, Derek James was telling him to pick it up, and he didn't want no part of that. He already said, I'm just going to go the distance with this dude. I'm going to box him and go the distance. That's what Charlo was thinking in his head. So that's what he did. He was trying to find the angles on Canelo. He had the angles a couple of times, but he was just hesitant to throw. He was just very hesitant to throw. So he respected Canelo's power. They say he fought scared. I wouldn't say he fought scared. He kept at a certain range. He paced himself. I wouldn't say he fought scared. I think that he knew he could get countered, and he knew what kind of power Canelo had. He even said at the end of the fight, he said, that guy is he's an ox. So, okay, there it is. Oh my God. Seriously? Bro, seriously? This is where we are? So I'm swapping channels now. I'm starting to do boxing on my Christ and Disciple channel. And I'm doing, this is so messed up. All right, cool. Well, we'll just have to. Oh my God. Seriously? Bro, seriously? This is where we are? So I'm swapping channels now. I'm starting to do boxing on my Christ and Disciple. Okay, this is the wrong place for me to do the boxing, but it is what it is. So I'm on and where did I post this up? On my channel too? Oh my gosh. So I confuse channels, people. I have two phones, and sometimes I confuse what I'm doing on one phone with the other phone. So that's what happened. It's cool. It's cool. It's all right. Okay, so this is what's up. What I'll do, I suspect I'm on. That's why I can see it on my live. I suspect it's here. Community. Yup. That's messed up. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete this. This channel is really for what? Hey man, I need to delete this. This channel is really for okay, no problem. There you go. What you need, yeah. Happens. All right, so I just posted the stream onto What You Need, so you guys can watch it from there. I don't know why I'm doing things so back for front, but sometimes you're busy handling business or whatever, and then you just realize, oh shucks, I'm using the wrong channel. Sorry about that, folks, but it is what it is. So going back to this, yeah. So Jamel was very hesitant. He felt the power of Canelo, and he was like, I ain't playing with that. And so that's what happened in that fight. All right, now upcoming fight: David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade. This is a very good fight in my opinion, because this will definitely determine who is the guy to face Canelo Alvarez, right? So Demetrius Andrade, he's a bit up in age, and David Benavidez is young. He's now, he's in his prime and everything. So if David could beat Demetrius Andrade, it would set up David definitely, because now he got a young, skillful fighter that he would have defeated. That would really set him up to face Canelo. You know what I mean? Canelo's saying that, David Benavidez is not on his radar. I would say this. He might say that. But if David Benavidez beats Demetrius Andrade, if David Benavidez can beat Demetrius Andrade, I'm not saying he's going to stop him, because he didn't stop Caleb Plant. So I don't see him stopping Demetrius Andrade. But let's say somehow he beats Demetrius Andrade. That's definitely excellent name, and that's a name that can bring out Canelo, and Canelo could face. Now, from what I'm hearing, I don't know how true this is. It seems as though Showtime and Stephen Espinosa, they're not doing business with Al Heyman, and PBC will not be renewing the Showtime contract with PBC will not be renewed. I don't know how true that is. But if that's the case, then the question is, where will this fight be hosted? Will it be on Fox? Will it be where will it be? So we'll have to see. I do hope that Showtime continues to do boxing with PBC, but we don't know. We'll see what happens. The thing though is, these are big fights. These are big fights, and Canelo versus Charlo, if I'm not mistaken, raked in like 650 to 750 pay-per-view buys. That's still big pay-per-view buys, believe it or not, for a fight in which a lot of people thought that Canelo had all the advantages and you should get the win, but you couldn't count out Charlo. The thing with it is not that Charlo didn't have the skill to beat Canelo. It's just that because defensively he did pretty good. I think his problem was that offensively he wasn't picking it up. He wasn't really doing anything. It kind of reminds me of Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia. The defense was there, but the offense wasn't there. Now, Canelo didn't kill him. He didn't beat him up. He didn't bust up his face or anything. But he didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? Offensively speaking, he didn't do anything to win the fight. He wasn't winning any of the rounds. I didn't have him winning a single round. It's whitewash. And, he was there. You can say he shared the ring with Canelo. You can say he jumped up 2 weight classes, shared the ring with Canelo, but I didn't really see anything from him. It wasn't a competitive fight at all, and that wasn't because of Canelo. Canelo was doing what he was supposed to do. It was that Charlo wasn't doing anything, and Canelo was basically controlling and dictating the fight, in my opinion. So, it is what it is. Now, with respect to Wood, his older brother, Jamal Charlo, who is not as versatile, but has been at a higher weight class, is fundamental with the jab and so on. Could he do something with Canelo? I don't know. But what I do know is that fight doesn't look like it's going to happen, but it may. Down the road, it looks like Maul is going to be fighting. If he goes up to 168, he's probably going to fight Caleb Plant first, right? Because of the slap and all of that and whatever. So Maul is going to be facing Jose Benavidez, David Benavidez's younger brother, this coming year. And Demetrius Andrade is going to be facing David Benavidez, the younger of the two brothers, but at the higher weight class, this coming November. So do I look forward to that fight? Absolutely. That's another good fight. David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade is a fighter who just could not secure those big marquee fights. And so if he could secure the David Benavidez fight, by all means, that's a good thing for him. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully things can work out in his favor there. Um, what happens if Demetrius Andrade beats David Benavidez? Well, that's a great question. Uh, it means he would be Canelo's mandatory for the WBC title. That's all it would mean. Whether Canelo would face him or who Canelo would face next, we don't know. I think Canelo, that's the last fight Canelo has for this year. I don't know what he has up his sleeve for next year. But at the 168-pound division, one of two people will be a mandatory for him at the WBC. And I think the WBC is talking about stripping him if he don't face the mandatory or something like that. So the winner of Andrade versus Benavidez will directly be in line to face Canelo next. All right? Whether or not they will face him next is another story, but they'll be in line to face him next. People saying Terence Crawford versus Canelo and Crawford wants this Canelo fight and stuff. Listen, he has Errol Spence. Errol Spence is mandatory. He has to honor the rematch clause, legally speaking. And so he can't talk about Canelo if he's not going to face Errol Spence. And Errol Spence is preparing for him. More than likely, that fight will happen at 154 pounds, no matter what Terence Crawford tells you. That fight will probably happen at 154. And we'll see how that pans out. That's going to happen sometime December this year. It's got to happen. So that fight has to happen this year. Even though Stephen Espinosa is talking about next year or whatever, it's probably going to happen this year. Now, with respect to Terence, if he were to face Canelo, I've heard Shakur Stevenson say that Terence could take Canelo. He probably could take Canelo if they fight at a catchweight. At a catchweight, sure. At a catchweight. Going up to 160, I think 168 is just too much. That's 3 weight classes. You're talking about going up 3 weight classes to face Canelo. That's way too much. I don't care what you say. And the fact that Mel, who's, Mel's a warrior. But Mel, in order to go the distance with Canelo, and he got dropped. To go the distance with Canelo, and was gun shy because Canelo just was hitting that hard. Okay, he was hitting that hard. And Mel wasn't used to that. So they're weight classes for a reason. And, at least with Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo could handle Bivol's power. Bivol could take a shot, but he could handle Bivol's power. It's not the case here. Mel, he could handle Canelo's power to some degree, but clearly, Canelo dropped him. Clearly, Canelo punched way harder than anything Mel's ever encountered. And even though he seemed to shrug it off and whatever, I still think that Mel wasn't eager to just trade with Canelo and engage with Canelo like that. He probably got dropped a couple more times because he was starting to get a rhythm before he got dropped. So he was like, you know what, this ain't working. I'm going back down to 154. So they're weight classes for a reason, people. And, it ain't easy to just go up there and fight a much bigger guy and just jump up from wherever you are. And of course, the opportunity presented itself for Mel, and Mel always wanted that Canelo fight. So, he got his chance. And Canelo, absolutely very smart. His corner giving him very good advice. Don't just try and go gung-ho on this guy and then he catch you with something. You never know. So, treat him like he's a good fighter and just box him. And he boxed him. He outboxed him. He outjabbed him. He outjabbed Jamel. He was placing his punches very well. It's just all around, Canelo just did a great job. Great job. The punch he dropped him with was a punch where she shortened up. So instead of throwing it wide coming in, he shortened up the punch, so he caught him on the temple, kind of like a Gennady Golovkin kind of shot. It was pretty cool. And it disoriented Jamel, and Jamel decided to take a knee. He didn't drop him immediately, but he took a knee. So I'm just saying that, Canelo is a smart fighter, cerebral fighter. Plus, he got the power on. He's strong as an ox. He can take a shot. It's just, got good defense. You know what I'm saying? So, it's kind of hard to deal with Canelo and with all those variables. And his stamina was much better in this fight, obviously, because it was a guy that he was bullying mostly. But, Canelo hats off to him. Beat Jermell Charlo. I thought Jermell Charlo would beat him, but Jermell Charlo, I think, for him to take that risk to say he's going to throw all that offense and not to be so timid with it, would have taken a lot. I think he was not used to the power in that weight class. Clearly he wasn't. And so he wasn't taking no chances. And so he decided to play it safe, especially after he got dropped. With respect to Andrade Benavidez facing Canelo, I would love to see either guy face Canelo. I do think Andrade, of the two, would have a better shot at Canelo. A lot of people feel that Benavidez would be the dude, to really, it would be a great, exciting fight. No doubt about it. Benavidez versus Canelo would be a very exciting fight, But I just think Canelo beats Benavidez, period. I think that Canelo has shown time and time again that guys with a good jab, he's able to beat them. And it is the movement of the person. It's not just having a good jab, but being able to move with that jab. And obviously, Caleb Plant, a good jab wasn't enough. You have to have a little pop in your right hand to at least give him some respect, to let him respect your power a bit, or at least be quick enough, snappy enough, and have that movement to be able to not necessarily bust him up, but at least you mustn't be in front of him at all. You have to be able to make those micro steps, and you have to be able to counter him. Floyd did an excellent masterclass in beating Canelo, and now everybody knows Canelo is a pound-for-pound fighter. He's been on a pound-for-pound list for a long time, and Canelo is just that guy. He's that dude who is really that good, So, Canelo's proven every single generation now, generation after generation, he's putting some names on his list, guys who earned it. This is a guy who's undisputed at 154, went up to 168 to try to be great, came up short, and Canelo's got his name on the list. He's got a guy who's going to go down in the Boxing Hall of Fame on his list. Yet another Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? That's Canelo. And when Teddy Atlas and Paulie Malignaggi was going in on Canelo and this and that and the other and the third, guess what? He just keeps on making history. Something that both Teddy Atlas and Paulie Malignaggi never did. Period. Right? Teddy Atlas made history, yeah, with, Michael Moore and those guys. But Teddy Atlas never boxed. He's never been on that level. He'll never be called an all-time great. Canelo's an all-time great. It is what it is. And beating Canelo's not easy. You have to have that, like I said, that footwork, that foot activity. Plus, you got to have your output. You got to be able to, you got to do something. You know what I'm saying? The jab is a good tool if you know how to move. And it is what it is with Charlo. Charlo, it is what it is. With respect to, I only got this to put out there. So it's Andrade or Benavidez versus Canelo. That's what I see. I don't know. Maybe it's something else. Maybe Canelo goes back and he rematches Bivol. Who knows? He got options, right? But he has a 3-fight deal with PBC. So wherever PBC is, he's going to complete those other 2 fights. There are 2 other fights he has. Now, Mel, I don't know if Mel will be facing Canelo anytime soon. That's the thing. Jamal Charlo, because he got Jose Benavidez in front of him. Then he's going to have Caleb Plant. Then he might look at Canelo. So that's way too many fights. Canelo by next year will be fighting somebody at Cinco de Mayo. And there's no way Mal's fighting 2 fights before Cinco de Mayo. It's not happening. So I think that Canelo more than likely will face the winner of Benavidez and Andrade. But then let's think outside the box. What else could Canelo do? He's not going to be rematching Bivol unless he can get like a break in between that contract with Al Heyman to go across, fight Bivol, and come back. Who knows? Maybe he face what's the guy's name? Artur Beterbiev. Who knows? Maybe he goes fight Artur Beterbiev, become unified 175-pound champ. Who knows? You never know with Canelo. What are some other out of the box things, challenges that he might want to take? I don't know. Because 168 really ain't got a lot of people who've been beaten champions and, a lot of glorified names. Benavidez is probably the most, got the best stack resume out of everybody. Because Maul fought some people, but they're 160. Benavidez, he at least fought Plant. He fought Darrell. Who else is he fought? That's a champion. Darrell and Plant. I think that's about it. And if he takes on Andrade, that would be one opponent that Canelo, because Darrell got knocked out by Plant too, so. But if he goes and he fights Andrade, it's a guy that Canelo didn't fight. So if he fights a guy that Canelo doesn't fight, then he has that, and he beats him, then he has something, over Canelo. You know what I'm saying? And you can say, hey, I fought this guy that you didn't fight. You know what I mean? So now let's get it on. And Benavidez versus Canelo will be a good fight. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be a good fight in terms of Mexican fighters. We know the Mexican heart. These guys are gonna put on a fight. They're gonna put it down. Well, at least I expect Benavidez to do something. Canelo's a guy, man. He can close the distance. Benavidez, he war with a lot of people, but he's never fought Canelo. And with Canelo, a smart fighter. So I know Benavidez wouldn't quit, but I could see him getting beat up real bad. Real bad. Like, y'all, I mean, he probably could take it. But nonetheless, I'm just saying, I think Canelo dish out a lot of damage to him. That's what I think. Because he's an exciting fighter, but I just don't think his jab is enough. I think he's too flat-footed. He's just way too flat-footed for Canelo. And I think Canelo's going to just run rings around him and beat him up. But who knows? We'll see, right? That's why we make what the fights are made. I think Andrade could move around Benavidez and give him all kinds of looks, and I'll point him easy. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong about Charlo. So who knows? Maybe Benavidez catches Andrade with something, put him down, catches up to him and beats him up. Who knows? Right? Caleb Plant was supposed to outbox Benavidez, and he was doing it early on, and then, he slowed down. That was that. Would Andrade slow down? Probably not. He's got better conditioning, but he is old. So who knows? Right? And if Andrade could outbox Benavidez, does that mean he can outbox Canelo? These are all questions that are interesting. So Charlo showed flashes of, catching Canelo with those shots, the same shots that we saw Bivol doing. He was circling off the ropes nicely sometimes, and he was using the ropes a lot though. But I don't know. We have to see what happens with these fights first, because it doesn't matter what we talk about. The fights have to happen. So when Benavidez faces Andrade, we'll get answers. Because Andrade's never fought a world champion. He's become a world champion twice, but he's never fought a world champion. So this will be his first world champion he's fighting. And Benavidez, this will be his first, it will be his first undefeated champion in its prime that he would be facing, And, Caleb Plant's a good fighter, but I think that Andrade has better stamina, and I think Andrade is also much more composed, has a lot more experience than Caleb Plant, as being a world champion. So it'd be interesting. And I love the fight because it's two guys, both guys not getting the fights they want to get. So, this should be good. I think that's the fight, really, honestly speaking. That's a 168-pounder, fighting a 168-pounder. Well, one who has been at 168 and actually had a fight at 168. And Andrade did get dropped. So, maybe it's ring rust, maybe it's old age. Who knows? So, you never know. Benavidez might drop him, might stop him. You never know. We'll have to see. I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. And then maybe Canelo faces one of those guys. Canelo can call the shots. He can do whatever he wants. At this point, maybe he goes in the fight with Charlo. Who knows what will happen? But what I can tell you is I'm looking forward to seeing these fights next year. And there's a lot of things up in the air, like what's going to happen with PBC, blah 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 blah. I don't think that Canelo will face Terrence Crawford next year. That's just out there, man. That's just way out there. That's like Canelo's fighting at 168, probably 175. Probably end off his career at cruiserweight. Who knows? But what to get a championship belt at 190 something, right? So he might become a 5 division world champion. Okay, which would be awesome. That would match what Floyd Mayweather did. Um, and then there's a number of championship fights. He's become undisputed. Floyd Mayweather's never undisputed. These kind of things. So Canelo is chasing greatness, and I guess he just needs to get up for certain fights. The Charlo fight, he got up for that for sure, and we'll see what else is on the horizon for him. But obviously, he is still, after all these years, he's still one of the top fighters in the world. Is he number one pound for pound right now? Probably not. I think Crawford still got one over him because he didn't stop Jermell Charlo, right? He wasn't so, but he did beat him. But again, Jermell Charlo's coming up in weight. You know what I'm saying? So all of that you have to consider. But he's up there, man. He's up there with the big ones. You know what I mean? That's Canelo for you. What am I going to talk about? There's just one or two more things to talk about here when it comes to boxing, and then I'm out of here. The first one is, let's talk about in the lightweight division this year, December December, let me check the date. Devin Haney will be taking on Regis Prograis. I don't know about y'all out there, but Regis Prograis is, in my opinion, he's not a joke. Okay, this guy can punch. He's explosive. He's fast. Yes, he's a bit flat-footed, but he's explosive and fast. I want to see what Devin Haney looked like at 140. Just lots of questions over how Devin Haney will handle the situation with Regis Prograis. And some people are saying, well, Devin Haney going to landslide and we going to outbox him, blah, 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 blah. Probably not. We don't know. I just want to see what it looks like. Given that I've been wrong about a couple fights, well, I'm trying to figure, okay. They're saying it's December 9th in San Francisco. So December the 9th is when Regis Prograis should be taking on Devin Haney. And Regis Prograis ain't no joke. I mean, a lot of these guys, we watched that Richardson Hitchens totally, utterly beat up Jose Cepeda, but he didn't knock him out, though. But he beat him up. He outboxed him. He dropped him. All kinds of stuff, right? And Richardson Hitchens is a good fighter, right? So are we saying that Devin Haney's going to do that to Regis Prograis? I mean, Regis Prograis knocked out Jose Cepeda. But, I mean, who knows? So we'll see. I just think, you can't slip up with Regis. Regis will smoke you if he has to. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. I don't know. I think that's a much more dangerous fight than Teofimo Lopez. I'm hearing that there's talks about, Bob Arams talking about Teofimo Lopez versus Ryan Garcia. Whew, that's a good fight. It's a good fight as well. We'll see how that turns out. But definitely a fight of Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis got my interest. That's a fight that's locked in. So December the 9th, we'll be looking forward to that fight and see how that fight will pan out as well. That is, now let's just think about the state of the super lightweight or 140 or the junior welterweight 140 pound division. We got Subriel Mateus, who's the IBF champion. We've got the WBA champion, which is Raleigh Romero. We got the WBC champion, which is Regis Prograis, and we got the WBO champion, which is Teofimo Lopez. Those are the 4 champions in that division. Up pops Devin Haney. Devin Haney's going at Regis Prograis. Teofimo Lopez still there, though. Don't forget that. Ryan Garcia is looking to face Teofimo Lopez. See how that pans out. I think I favor Tio, but who knows? Ryan at speed might be a problem for Tio. Who knows? We just never know. I guess Tio will look at the situation, address Ryan's speed. We'll see. We'll see how that fight pans out. Derek James hasn't been having a good year at all. All his fighters are losing this year. But we'll see if Ryan picked a good choice to have a trainer. Derek James has been giving good instructions, though. He gave good instructions to Errol Spence. He gave good instructions to Jamel Charlo, but he just didn't follow it. It is what it is. He's telling you what to do, but whether you can do it or not, or what's happening in your head, it's another story, you know. But Derek James has been giving them good instructions. Specific instructions and good instructions. It's just... they're just not implementing it. It is what it is. When it comes to that 140-pound division, it's heating up. You know, Richardson Hitchens is there. We've got, of course, Antoine Russell Jr., who's there. You know, we got Jose, what's his name? There's Josh Taylor. I think Josh Taylor should go to welterweight, if you ask me. The guy Josh Taylor beat, I forgot his name. Jose Ramirez is there. We got that kid from Top Rank. I forgot what his name is. He's there. You have, who else do you have there? See. Actually, I don't have much information on that. But, yeah, I was looking to see if there's anybody else in the division. Okay, so you got people like... there's Jose Pedraza in that division. There's Kenneth Sims Jr. There's Richardson Hitchens. You got Arnold Barboza Jr., Ryan Garcia, Jack Catterall. You can't forget Jack Catterall. Gary Antoine Russell, Cepeda, Ramirez, Taylor, Prograis, and Lopez, right? Sandel Martin's in that division as well. He's one of the top guys in the division. So you got all these guys. You got Brandon Lee that's in that division as well. So you know you got some people up in there. I haven't seen Bunny or Robert Easter Jr. in a minute. I don't know what's going on with him. Yeah, and you got some veterans like Victor Postol. You got, you also got Montana Love that's in that division. He lost just recently. Yeah, so you know it's a decent division. It's a decent division. Yeah, well anyway, that's what I got for you guys. I'm gonna catch you guys later. I am what you need on Christ I Am Disciples channel. And I'm going to catch y'all guys later. I just wanted to chop up a little bit of boxing with you guys. Get up to speed a little bit with stuff in boxing. I don't know what else to look forward to in boxing right now. All the hot fights have gone. And the dust is settling. So there's only like 1 or 2 more really good fights for the year. And that's it. I'm going to catch you guys later on What You Need. Hope you guys have a good night. God be with you. God bless. Bye. See you soon.